Uh, Reproachment. I can't do everything. Rapprochement, which occurs from around 18 months to 3 years, comes from a French word meaning a restoration of harmonious relations. In other words, the child comes back to reality. The grandiosity of the past few months slowly gives way to the realization that I can't do everything I want. Uh, Rapprochement, which occurs from around 18 months. In other words, the child realization I can't do everything that I want. Okay. Children become anxious and aware that the world is a scary place. They realize that they still need mother. The rapprochement phase is a return to connection with mother, but this time isn't different. This time the child brings a more separate self into the relationship. There are two people now with different thoughts and feelings, and the child is ready to relate to the outside world without losing a sense of self. Typically, this is a difficult period for both children and parents. Rapprochement toddlers are obnoxious, oppositional, temperamental, and downright angry. They can remind you of someone with chronic toothache. Let's look at some of the tools toddlers use to build boundaries in this stage. Anger. Anger is a friend. It was created by God for a purpose, to tell us that there's a problem and that needs to be confronted. Anger is a way for children to know that their experience is different from someone else's. The ability to use and to distinguish between self and others is a boundary. Children who can appropriately express anger are children who will understand later in life when someone is trying to control or hurt them. Ownership, sometimes misunderstood or simply a selfish stage, rapprochement introduces words to the youngster's vocabulary such as mine, my, and me. Susie doesn't want anyone else to hold her doll. Billy doesn't want to share his trucks with a visiting toddler. This important part of becoming a self is often quite difficult for Christian parents to understand. Well, that's old sinful nature is rearing its ugly head in my little girl, the parents will remark while their friends nod sagely. We're trying to help her share and love others, but she's caught up in that selfishness we all have. This is neither accurate nor biblical. The child's newfound fondness for mine does have roots in our innate self-centeredness. Part of the sinful depravity in all of us that wants to, as did Satan, make myself like the Most High. Isaiah 14, verse 14. However, this simplistic understanding of our characteristic does not take into consideration the full picture of what being in the image of God truly is. Being created in God's image also means having ownership or stewardship. As Adam and Eve were given dominion over the earth to subdue and rule it, we are also given stewardship over our time, energy, talents, values, feelings, behavior, money, and all the other things mentioned in chapter 2. Without a mind, we have no sense of responsibility to develop, nurture, and protect these resources. Without a mind, we have no self to give to God and His kingdom. Children desperately need to know that mine, my, and me aren't swear words. With correct biblical parenting, they will learn sacrifice and develop a giving, loving heart, but not until they have a personality that has been loved enough to give love away. We love because God first loved us. 1 John 4, verse 19. No, the one word boundary, toddlers going through rapprochement frequently use one of the most important words in the human language, the word no. While it can emerge during hatching, no is perfected during rapprochement. It's the first verbal boundary children learn. The word no helps children separate from what they don't like. It gives them the power to make choices. It protects them. Learning to deal with a child's no is crucial to that child's development. One couple who didn't attend to their child's refusal to eat certain foods found out later that she was allergic to one of them. Often children at this age become no addicts. They will not only refuse vegetables and nap time, but will also turn away from popsicles and favorite toys. It's worth it for them to have the no. It keeps them from feeling completely helpless and powerless. Parents have two tasks associated with no. First, they need to help their child feel safe enough to say no, thereby encouraging his or her own boundaries, though they certainly can't make all the choices. They'd like the young children should to be able to have a no that is listened to. Informed parents won't be insulted or enraged by their child's resistance. They will help the child feel that his no is just as lovable as his yes. They won't withdraw emotionally from the child who says no, but they will stay connected. One parent must often support another who is being worn down by their baby's no. This process takes work. One couple was faced with an aunt whose feelings were hurt by her daughter's refusal to kiss and hug her upon every visit. Sometimes the child wanted to be close, sometimes she wanted to stand back and watch. The couple responded to the aunt's complaints by saying, "We don't want Casey to feel that her affection is something she owes people. We'd like her to be in charge of her life." These parents wanted her daughter's yes to be yes and her no to be no. Matthew 5, verse 37. They wanted her to be able to say no so that in the future she would have the ability to say no to evil. The second task facing parents of children in rapprochement is that of helping the child respect others' boundaries. Children need to be able not only to give a no, but also take a no. Parents need to be able to set and keep age-appropriate boundaries with children. It means not giving in to temper tantrums at the toy shop, although it would be less humiliating to quiet the child by purchasing half of the store. It means timeouts, appropriate confrontations, and spanking when necessary. Discipline your children, for in that there is hope. Do not be a willing party to their death. Proverbs 19, verse 18. In other words, help children learn to take limits before it's too late. Boundary construction is most evident in 3-year-olds. By this time, they should have mastered the following tasks: the ability to be emotionally attached to others, yet without giving up a sense of self and one's freedom to be apart. The ability to say appropriate no's to others without fear or loss of love. The ability to take appropriate no's from others without withdrawing emotionally. Noting these tasks, a friend said, half joking, they need to learn this by the age of 3. How about by 43? Yes, these are tall orders, but boundary development is essential in the early years of life. 2 additional periods of life focus on boundaries. The first is adolescence. The adolescent years are a reinforcement of the first years of life. They involve more mature issues such as sexuality, gender identity, competition, and adult identity. But the same issues of knowing when to say yes and no and to whom are central during this confusing time. The second period is young adulthood, the time when children leave home or college and start a career or get married. Young adults suffer a loss of structure during this period. There are no class bells, no schedule imposed by others, and a great deal of very scary freedom and responsibility, as well as the demands of intimacy and commitment. This can often become an intense time of learning more about setting good boundaries. The earlier the child learns good boundaries, the less turmoil he or she experiences later in life. A successful first 3 years of life will mean a smoother but not smooth adolescence for a better transition into adulthood. A problematic childhood can be helped greatly by lots of hard work in the family during adolescence, but serious boundary problems during both these periods can be devastating during the adult years. It helps to know the way it should have been for me, said the one woman who attended a talk on child development. But what would really help is to know what went wrong for me. Let's look next at where our boundaries development goes wrong.